At least get some preliminary going. Hey, what's going on?
Good morning.
I have a new process here that I'm working through. So we're going to try this for everybody. And just remember, you know, as people come in, we'll remind them of how much they paid for this.
Is that your new process?
That's my new process.
You said you had a new process. Is that reminding people how much they paid?
Yeah, that's what it is. Greg Clark, I need to make you a co-host apparently to make you work here.
Morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to put good morning from Park City. Go ahead and chime in. Good morning from where you're calling from.
Yep. That's right. We're going to be rocking.
David says that the host stopped my video.
Woohoo!
Well, I didn't stop your video, but I made you the host, the co-host. You should be able to start your video again.
Can everyone hear us now?
Because you're way too overdressed for this meeting, man. That's all I know.
Can the 76
What was that
people?
you were saying about being overbranded? What was
I
that?
said, can the 76 people hear us now?
Yeah, everybody's paying. Everybody's here
Okay.
so far.
So everyone, please don't let our Greg's lack of ability to show his video give you any indication of his ability in doing proposals. He's really awesome. I'm sure it's a Zoom glitch. Hi, everybody. Yes, we'll be sending the recordings of the slides. Lisa, welcome.
How we doing?
Put your dialing. Hi, Portland.
How we doing?
Amber. Hey, Phyllis. Welcome. We have Panama Beach, Florida. Mike Shaw.
I like that. That's one of my favorite places.
I want to go to Panama Beach. Let's have a team meeting in Panama Beach.
I think that's a winner. Next week we'll be there.
Hi, Arizona.
Actually, let's make it in January. Actually,
Yeah.
Panama City Beach gets a lot colder than you think.
Yeah.
It really does. We've been down there in November, and it's like we're down there expecting to just pop in and have like, you know, run around in shorts. And nay. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, they
Like
actually
going
have
to
a big.
California. I bought more coats in California and San Francisco. Nothing colder than that breeze blowing off the ocean. Hi,
Yeah.
Kentucky. Hello, Scott. Welcome, Shelley.
Yeah, everybody.
Cape May, New Jersey. Yay.
I know.
PRD, California. Hi, Don Midget. Welcome.
What has happened with you, Greg Clark?
I don't know.
There he is.
Yay.
I'm an IT guy now.
Greg's
All
in the
right,
house.
Fantastic.
Welcome, New Jersey. TriNet Medical.
Yeah.
Hi, Tallahassee.
I think this is who it's going to be today. I don't think Peter's going to join us, but I will make some introductions. We'll get us cooking. I have a lot that I want to cover today, and I have something that I want to run past everybody as more of an engagement kind of thing. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal. We help out there with data, marketing, and business development support in the federal government. This is where I was last month when some folks on my team and Sally and everybody else here helped cover. And I was eating key lime pie. What do you think of that, Greg Clark?
I'm jealous.
I know you should be. Now, what were you saying yesterday? There's somebody that's better than Mrs. Max?
I didn't say that. I said I was talking to somebody and I was extolling the virtues of Mrs. Max. And he said, brother, you need to get yourself over to the Fish House, also in Key Largo. I'll make sure I'm gonna get this right.
Has anybody been to Mrs. Max or those places? Let us know. Fish. I don't have any idea what the fish.
I've been to the Fish House.
The Fish House.
The Fish House.
Yeah,
Fish House.
that's good stuff. That's good stuff right there.
All right. Well, I can tell you. Well, I have to go back now. So maybe that our first meeting will be in Panama City, and our second will be in Key Largo. What do you think, guys?
Yay.
Let's do it.
Anyways,
You need to try Garcia's seafood right on the water in Miami Beach. That's the place to go.
okay.
Got it.
Well, we will
Trust me on that one.
have to have a big
seafood.
foodie session.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, it's great to be back. I was away, as you know. And if you take a look on the right-hand side, we'll be talking about some of these things today, mostly about SAM.bid and the AMP system. That's a new system that we've developed that I want to get your feedback on as well. But we've been helping companies since 2009, and I'm trying to catch up with Greg Clark and his crew. We're about 512 million now. But apparently he's a little bit above that. He's going to talk about that in a minute, but we could talk about getting smart about in the marketplace, reaching federal stakeholders, and monitoring SAM.gov with an advanced monitoring platform to watch not only the opportunities, but getting proactive and being able to do things. That's what we're going to talk about today in a small, short commercial in the middle of our presentation, so that I can get feedback from you guys. So this is SAM.bid. It is live. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. The other thing, if you have a GSA contract, you can use QuickFuse, QuickFuse.com to monitor GSA e-buy. And as I mentioned, you will know fast, act quick, and win more. Everybody that uses QuickFuse, we haven't lost anybody. I don't think anybody's stopped using QuickFuse in a while, because it is a big help, especially in September. And if you keep it for a year, we will guarantee that you're going to win 500% more than you pay for QuickFuse. And we've never had to refund anybody's money. What we have here is what Rafael Marrero helps folks with socio-economic certifications. What in the world is that, Rafael?
Well, if you belong to a group that is presumably disadvantaged, for example, if you are a member of a minority, if you are a disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged minority, or if you are a member of a group that is presumed to be socially disadvantaged, or a veteran, you can qualify to become certified by the SBA or one of its other sister programs as a small business, certified as an 8A, as a SDV, OSB if you're a service-disabled veteran-owned small business, or BOT certified or women-owned certified, in order to qualify for set-aside opportunities and opportunities that are only afforded to those in that space and that carry that credential. So it's a great contracting opportunity and a great positioning opportunity for those that are small businesses and qualify.
That is correct. And you help them also with small business financing. I know you got into that world with the last
correct.
year.
We work specifically with on the commercial side. We work with small business lending on 7A and 504 loans. We were also heavily involved with Paycheck Protection Program, and we're doing loan forgiveness there now. And we were also active with the EIDL. So all forms of SBA loans, and those are our niche offerings. Yep. And particularly, we also focus on branding. We help contractors get their messaging down so that they can present the best version of themselves in front of federal buyers, partners, and teaming partners and potential primes.
And we're going to be talking about that. Preparation is that is what your mission is today, Mr. No, it's not even Mr. It's Dr. Oh, and I forgot. Hold on. I forgot. For your benefit, everybody, I have my Rafael Marrero glasses that I can wear. They're not quite as sexy blue as the ones that he has there, but whatever. That's the best I can do from Amazon.com. All right. So the other guy that we have here today that you see is Mr. Greg Clark. He's with DeSutter Kerr and Associates. What in the world do you guys do? And I can take these off, because I can talk back to what you're doing.
So
tell us about DKA.
DKA, we formed DKA in 95. 3 of us formed the company in 95. There's 6 of us now. And we help companies identify opportunities and evaluate them to see if they're a good fit for your experience and capabilities. And if it is, we can help you put your proposal together to increase your chances of winning that. In that capacity, we are at 391 government contracts we've helped our clients win. And in June, that total surpassed 2 billion.
Wait, Rafa.
Yep.
Billion.
And then we've also helped.
How many billions?
2.
2 billions.
2 billion. And then we in 07 we started helping companies get on the GSA schedule, and that's grown to where we're about 425 companies we've helped get on the GSA schedule and maintain their contracts. So those are the 2 areas that we focus on, and everything else we do is in support of them.
And we're going to be talking about part of your mission today. See, I give missions out now. Mission today is talking about GSA, what that means and how that works. So the other person you see here is Sally White, and Sally is with Echo Wolf Solutions, an Uber connector and opportunity teaming and DOE Navy, and she's also a LinkedIn maven. So and you're going to be talking about infrastructure. Don't talk about it yet.
Okay, so I put my information in the chat.
Yep, make sure you do that.
Basically, encourage everyone else to do that, because what this meeting is about, we have 180 people here. And the beauty of this meeting, as well as our other meetings brought to you by ISI, allows us to help one another as small business owners, prime contractors, and the like, government individuals, to connect with one another to help get contracts. So 3 specific things I do, like Dave said. If you need to know executives in the government, or executives in the Navy, or rear admiral generals, or DOD secretaries, etc. I'm not saying I know everyone, just to be super clear. If anybody tells you, they're not telling the truth. What I know how to do is get to them. And
That's
I can
right.
help you do that. Number 2, if your LinkedIn page looks beautiful, like, well, I'll give you an example after the meeting. If you're like Rafael's and mine, because I work really hard on it, then that's great. If you need some help, then I can help you with that, or I can tell you how to do it. And then-
Apparently, Greg, you and I are not in
No,
that.
no, no, I didn't want to be, I want to be positive here. Dave and Greg have special gifts that they're here to offer. And then the third.
Now we're special.
Yeah, yeah. There's a short bus comment coming any moment now.
That did-
The third area, if your integrations have an opportunity for improvement, in other words, if somebody goes on your website and then they click your Twitter account and there's no great picture and you haven't tweeted in 10 years, or if they click your LinkedIn account and it doesn't link into your thing, all those things I can teach you how to do, help you do it myself, etc. Love to help you. Thanks so much. I put my Calendly in the chat because I give free consultations. Because
free, my favorite 4-letter word, free.
Free, complimentary, a gift. Any friend of Dave and the ISI team is a friend of Echo.
Love it, love it. And one of the guys that's missing is Peter Timmis. He helps with contract funding. That if you have won a contract and you need funding to make those payrolls and things like that, Peter Timmis is the man. And I'm sure that if Sally will be glad to connect you with him if you need to talk with him, but his information is right there. Always great.
And I'll put information in the chat as well.
There we go. Fantastic. Yes, go ahead, Greg.
So if you have a question, it's going to get lost if you put it in chat because there's too much going on in chat. So if you have a question, put it in the Q&A.
Put it in the Q&A. I love it. That's right. You're absolutely right. With 189 people here, it'll wind up being that. So about this session, it's always free. Like I said, 4-letter word. There's over 2,700. You're not going to believe this, guys. 2,700 registered. We wind up getting 200 to 300 every time. We're at 188 now. 189 just popped up. But dialoguing with federal sales experts, and we're real about how things work. We don't blow sunshine. Do we, Rafael Marrero? This is a no blowing sunshine.
Absolutely not. We set expectations and manage them accordingly.
There we go. And we'll talk about how to win. We'll show off a little bit with ISI Federal and the folks that you see here. And if you don't like it, as I mentioned, just remember what you paid. So with that, what are you after? Active opportunities, reaching stakeholders. Do you want to touch the people that are touching the federal universe with prime contractors teaming? There's all these things are part of a great federal strategy, and it doesn't matter which ones you want, because if you want to reach any of these folks, this is the universe that we operate in, finding and reaching those stakeholders. Real quick, this is not affiliated or endorsed by GSA or any agency. It's provided to you for informational purposes only. And if we have any government personnel here, it's not an endorsement or commitment to purchase from any vendor. This allows them to participate in this meeting per GSA. By the way, that's where we got that from. And participating is easy. As Greg mentioned, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A. If you have chats, you want to share information, you can certainly do that. If you would like to communicate with us and say, hey, I got a super question, I want to dialogue, raise your hand and we'll do our best to be able to unmute you and make you part of this conversation, which is exactly what we want. Right, Sally?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So if you've been living under a rock and you have no idea how Zoom works, you can go up top there and you can make us bigger or smaller. We will provide links in this in the chat. I think, Zachary, you're going to be able to do that for me? All right, those links are coming. The first thing I would like to know is, why in the world did you decide to come here? Are you new to federal contracting? You have federal contracts as a sub and you want to turn it into prime contracts? You want to do that? You have federal prime contracts you want to grow? Or some knuckle brains sent you an email So we'll keep doing that, and we'll keep that open for a minute. But the reason why I think we're all here is because there's a boatload of money. How many boats does it take to carry $3.5 trillion? That's my question for everybody here. Let's see if we can figure out what kind of size of a boat you need to carry that, because that's the boatload that's being spent right now. And it's happening with infrastructure, cybersecurity, modernization, a bunch of new environmental initiatives coming here, right, Sally White?
Absolutely.
And technology. The federal government buys everything. And guess what? It all has to be spent by when, Greg Clark?
September 30th, Hawaii time, midnight.
Hawaiian time, baby. That's right. That's in the wee hours.
Aloha.
Aloha. That's right. And if you want to win, you want to start now. We're going to be talking about that. First up, we're going to be talking about infrastructure. Why are we talking about infrastructure, Sally White?
Because it's Infrastructure Week, which of course has been a long-standing joke, but irrespective of where you fall politically, there's a long-delayed $1 trillion infrastructure bill that basically will be approved despite tense negotiations. And what's really cool about that is ISI helps all of us figure out how we align with Infrastructure Week and how we can benefit, just like they did from the executive briefings and the executive directives. So super excited.
Yeah. And I know you said something about going to Paris. What's happening with that?
Yes, I'm going to Paris. I'm actually going to the World Nuclear Conference in Paris in a couple of weeks. And so I'm happy to put the link in the chat. If you see any individuals, companies, speakers that you think you might want to connect with, feel free to pop it in, and hey, I might bump into them, I might text them, and I'm happy to connect them your way. So super excited. World Nuclear Exhibition. And
so you mentioned earlier that you do the LinkedIn thing, and you help with reaching SES folks, top-down type selling. So I'm going to open this up for everybody to be able to say if they want any help from you, if that's okay, Sally.
No, that's perfect. And while you're talking and while people are voting, the other thing I did before COVID, and I'm doing it now, I've done it 5 times in the last month, is people hire me to go to conferences. Like we'll walk around and we'll either get a nice booth set up for you, or my preference is walk and stalk. I don't want to be chained to a booth unless you have a wonderful person at the booth ready to receive people, because we can cover a lot of territory and introduce you to the right decision makers, influencers, et cetera, at conferences. And I could help you with that. Or also virtual conferences. You can do a lot that never costs you a thing.
I have no idea, but I can't answer this. So say what you want from Sally.
Sally, please
I can't open the poll.
Please help me, Sally. Please help me.
Well, help me, Sally.
Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Sally. Okay,
That's
so
right.
you have my information in the chat. If you need me, just reach out.
And I apologize. I don't understand why this happens sometimes with
that's okay.
With this. So
okay.
It's not my fault, although I will do my best to fix it. So we're going to be talking about the next 46 weeks is what we have left in this fiscal year. And I want to talk about how sales happen and how winners win. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be winners. We don't want to be losers. 46 weeks is what we got, Rafael. Sales happen in these segments. Why? Because right now we're in continuing resolution because the people in Washington can't agree on anything. I don't know that they ever will. But anyway, no matter what, eventually what's going to happen, Greg Clark, is we're going to have a budget that they can work off of. And that's what happens. It starts to warm up in February and March. You see this little bump, and then you see it really skyrocket in September. But what's necessary for things to happen in September is you have to do business development. Business development is proactively going after people, responding to proposals. That's all part of business development. So that's what you need to be doing, monitoring and responding and making sure you get yourself in there. This is what success looks like. And it starts up top with preparation, doing your marketing, getting your introductions, what Sally was talking about, meeting those people, then doing follow-up. Does it mean that you meet with somebody once, Sally, and bippity boppity boo, you get a contract?
Absolutely not. It's an impression play, a strategy play, and a knowledge play. It's important to do all of those areas. And the people here all have some pieces of that puzzle to help you with.
That's exactly right. Working those referrals, showing persistence, being a resource, educating the customer, providing sample scopes of work. Did you know you could do that? You can provide sample scopes of work, and then following up, submitting proposals and responding to RFPs. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Here's the reality. Your competition has been doing this already for years, years, and you want to disrupt this. This is what a great company looks like. This actually came from MCOR from years ago. And I was like, how did it happen? And you see these business development efforts and it kind of trows the land. Bam, all of a sudden you start seeing these spikes. All those spikes are in September. And guess what happened? This is how losers lose. You don't do your responses. You don't build relationships. You don't get any sales. Shocking that that's the way that it works. So we're going to be talking about preparation, and I'm setting up Rafael Marrero because he's the preparation king. And if he moved over a little bit, it would almost look like he has the capital of the dome on his head.
The
other way. You got to go the other way, dude. Other way. There, a little further. Ooh, there it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So the question that we have is, are you ready? Rafael Marrero, tell us how you get ready for doing business with the government.
Well, we focus on procurement and contract readiness. And in this first phase, we make sure that your SAM registration, which is something that most people overlook, is strong. This is the first lasting impression that you can give someone of your firm. And so we make sure that all the information that's there holds water, number one, that it is aligned with reality, and that the information is correctly mapped to your website, the email addresses work, your codes are correct, specifically your NAICS and PSD codes, keywords are there. And if you have technical expertise and certifications such as ISO, PMP certifications or others in the engineering world, for example, that these are reflected in your SAM registration. Also, most importantly, your past performance, right? People look at the SAM registration, specifically government buyers and teaming partners, as your initial sniff test. You must pass this initial sniff test. So we make sure that your kung fu is strong in the SAM registration. We then move on to socio-economic certifications, which help you compete for and in a reserved market for set-asides. And if you're a veteran, you can qualify for up to 3%, veteran-owned firms do 3% of all spending in the federal government. Women-owned firms qualify for up to 5% of the global spend in the government contracting arena. And small disadvantaged businesses, 8A firms, qualify for 5% of the spend, and hub zone firms as well. So we help you get all of your paperwork and ready, your ducks in a row, so that you can get registered in a relatively reasonable period of time. We walk you through the entire process and help you respond to government inquiries relevant to your application, so that you can focus on driving revenue and doing what you do best, which is running a business. And you let us do the heavy lifting for you. The other part that we do, bar none better than anyone else, is the branding component. We understand how to get your messaging across in the most effective manner to present the best version of you to federal contractors, to contracting partners, to buyers, to technical evaluators and others. We put together some incredibly good capability statements that are a lot more attractive and compelling and tell your story a lot better than most people do out there. We do a before and after, and you can see the difference. These are high impact capability statements. In addition to capabilities briefings, what do you do when you go and secure that first meeting? Well, you need to crush it, because your capability statement is like a resume, and the capabilities briefing is what you say when you get there, when you have FaceTime with these people. Last but not least, we also review your websites to make sure that they're government friendly and convey just the right amount of information. That's how we help you become procurement and contract ready to do business with the U.S. government.
I love it. And Rafael, you can move back into the center so you're not a dome head anymore.
Okay.
But can we do a couple of questions? Dave,
yeah, I was about to do that. Go ahead.
So Sally, there's a question there for you, but while you're reading that, I'm going to give Rafael a couple. Anju says they had an 8A, they were 8A certified, and that certification ended 8 years ago. We never did any business. Can we apply again for 8A?
The answer is no, you cannot, but there are options. And I like to take a look at their specifics, so I welcome them to a free consultation to see if perhaps we can help them enter into a mentor-protege agreement with an established 8A firm to see if there's something that can be done there. So remember that not only must you be in the program, there's other options for people. Let's say that you are, you can team with someone under the all small mentor protege program and participate in the 8A program as a teaming partner under an SBA approved mentor protege agreement. So we need to look at the specifics of your situation to see if you would qualify. But the short answer is you do not qualify. The company can only apply once in its lifetime, in addition to the owners.
Yep, the owner can't do it either.
Andrew also wants to know what the benefits of EDWOSB certification.
Well, the benefits are tremendous. Think of the EDWOSB program as
Which
sort of
stands
like
for, tell them what it means.
economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. The criteria is very, very similar to the 8A program. So, and women-owned, certified women-owned businesses under the SBA program qualify for up to 5%, same amount of contracts, basically in the dollars that the 8A firms receive, roughly, percentage-wise, that is. So think of it as sort of like an 8A for women, if you will, for economically disadvantaged women. The program dates back to 2008. It was created during the Obama administration. And basically, it's a program where, oh, by the way, the 8A criteria for qualification was recently adjusted. So the net value and everything was aligned, and the assets were aligned to match those of the women-owned and economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. So there are lots of advantages to having a certified EDWOSB firm. You can qualify for set-asides, you can qualify for no-bid contracts, and there are more than 112 areas, specifically NAICS codes and areas where women are grossly underrepresented, economically speaking, and there are contracting opportunities afforded to women in these categories. So there are a lot of advantages, competitive advantages to participating in this.
Sheila, Sheila wants to know how does she find her niche in the government bidding, their legal services and education?
Well, we will. Advice? That is great. We'll set, thanks for teeing that up. I'm going to address that in a few minutes, if that's okay. So stick around, Sheila. We'll address that. In the meantime, I am going to try. I think I figured out the poll problem. Let me see if I can get Rafa. Please help me. There's that.
You knew how to do it before you left on vacay.
I did, but I think I actually, while Rafael was talking, I'm glad he didn't ask me any questions like I did with Greg the one time. Because I was definitely in depth in reading. What do you need help? I need to pimp my SAM. I need a rocking capabilities statement. I want to talk about socioeconomic certifications or something else. Please call me. If you fill this out, you will get a call from Rafael's team. He was calling somebody right there. He's like, man, somebody wants to talk to me. I'm calling him right now.
And while you're doing that, I responded to the question in the poll about infrastructure, and my response was, I'm still researching it. I put the link, but I definitely want to talk to Dave after, and I know I threw him the hot potato, but it's always his decision about maybe considering a gov brief on infrastructure, and we could have an expert who's not me on infrastructure and how we can all benefit. So that might be an interesting thing we'll put in the
love to. I think that's great. Thanks for
throwing me under the bus. If I may, just know that the United States Department of Transportation has the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, the DBE program, which is part of the DOT. I strongly urge anyone in the construction, engineering, and even public relations arena, because they do have public information officer opportunities and communications opportunities. There are many, many areas where one can provide goods and services within the Department of Transportation. And so with this infrastructure bill, there will be many opportunities for those that would wish to participate in the DBE program. We also help you get certified for those. We have many clients.
And that's on the state level, right? That's the state level? State level.
It's a federal program, but it's administered at the state level.
Exactly.
So for example, the US Department of Transportation runs it, but each of the states run their own program. So it is a
Registrations.
federal program administered at the state level.
Yep. And this is important to know, folks, because a lot of the money is going to, those trillions of dollars are going to flow down from the feds through the states into those and be mandated that they're run through those programs. So very good stuff. I appreciate that, Rafa. I think there's, I don't know, like 43 people. So you're going to be talking to a lot of people this week. Greg Clark, the other part of getting prepared revolves around this GSA schedule thing. Tell us just a high level. We don't have to go into a lot of details, but tell us about GSA schedules and what you do with RFPs, RFIs, and RFQs, what those things are for the people that are new, because there's a bunch of folks that are new. Go ahead.
So GSA Schedules is basically a group of about, 20,000 companies that have been approved to sell products and services with pre-negotiated rates. And the point of the schedule is to allow government agencies to buy the products and services they need quicker, easier, and less expensively, because they have a need. They can go to the schedule, find a group that sells what they are looking for, and find their pricing and just contract directly with you. They don't have to go through a bidding process if they don't want to. And it's usually about $30 billion a year that agencies spend with people that are on these GSA schedule lists. Mm-hmm. There's about 300 different categories, also known as SINs, acronym for special item number. You see if what you offer is included, and that would be the SIN that you pursue. You have to be in business at least 2 years. You have to present the last 2 years of profit and loss statements and financial balance sheets, profit and loss statement balance sheets. And it's a very transparent program. You can see everybody that's been approved. You can see what they've been approved to sell and what their prices are. And so the information is there for you to do a viability assessment for yourself and determine, is this something that my company should do?
So what are some of the obstacles to that? By the way, just saw a behind the scenes thing while I'm trying to fix Greg's poll.
Pay no attention to the
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So what are some of the obstacles to getting a GSA contract?
If you offer things that aren't included in one of those 300 categories, if you're haven't been in business a minimum of 2 years. Now there's loopholes. If you offer IT services,
yep,
there's a startup springboard. So because the government wants all this emerging technology, so that you can use your own personal history instead, if your company doesn't have the requisite history. Another barrier would be if your pricing isn't in line, or you don't want your pricing to be viewed by your competitors, mm-hmm. or your sales just aren't there, because you're required to do a minimum of $25,000 in sales through your GSA schedule contract in the first 2 years, and then $25,000 per year thereafter. So that's in addition to whatever else you do through this schedule contract. You're going to use that and generate at least $25,000 in your first 2 years. So you're going to need to be doing at least 6 figures as a company for that evaluator to be confident in your ability to meet your sales requirements in order to approve you. You also need to you're going to be required to report the sales that you get through your schedule contract every quarter, and sometimes every month. So, and that's how they monitor to make sure you're getting to that figure. So mm-hmm. You have to be an established company selling things that are included in that, and you can make sure that other people are selling it, that your price is comparable to theirs.
Yep. And
but all the information is there for you to make that decision for yourself. Yep. You're not going to go in blindly.
Yep. And you help folks on all the fronts of this, which also includes, and I did figure out how to make this work, by the way. Greg, please.
While you're figuring that out, so when you're approved for a period of 5 years with
yep.
3 5-year options, and at the end of 20 years you reapply.
And so you got essentially 20 years, provided you're making your 25 grand. And if you're in it for 25 grand a year, that's not why you're doing it.
It's a low barrier, but it's to make sure that these lists are full of active contracts.
Exactly. And we part of the process is helping people get that, because just because you get one, what does that mean when you get a GSA contract? Boom, the money falls from the sky, right, Greg?
No, and that's not how it is. Like Rafael says, it's like a gym membership. It's not enough just to have a gym membership. You got to work it.
That's right.
That's
That's
it.
the workout. That's my
You gotta
workout.
work
Look
it.
at that.
You gotta work it.
You gotta
Yeah,
work it, baby.
and Dave, you can tell people there's a lot of people that go through the process and spend a year and thousands of dollars getting on the schedule, and 2 years later they lose their contract because they haven't had any sales. So
It's worth it.
you need to know what you're going to do on day one. Once you get that approval, you don't want to say now what. You want to know now what. You
Before
want to
you
know
do it.
exactly what you're going to
So
do, who your
Greg-
customers are going to be.
So Greg, as someone who worked with vendors before, right, on the procurement side for large companies, think of, for those folks that are not familiar with GSA schedules, think of them as master services agreements, right? On the commercial side. It's basically what it is. There's no commitment to buy from you. You need to go in and do the work like Greg says. But in this schedule, basically on this contract, you predetermine pretty much like the scope of the services that you provide. You establish the start and end date. And it's great because you have a 5-year term. So you can renew as long as you meet the deliverables that the government says, hey, you need to sell a minimum of this. But frankly, who would just sell the minimum when you can sell to all these federal agencies, when you have a predefined price list and services, and pretty much you've been vetted by the General Services Administration, which means financially stable, your company holds water, you know, the background is good, ownership is unencumbered. That's basically what the GSA schedule is, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great tool, but like my friend said, you got to go in and work it.
You gotta work it, baby.
So Raphael and Greg, I'm sure you're monitoring the questions. People want to know if, Raphael, you have a schedule set up like I do. So if you could put in the chat, if you do a free consultation, if you do Calendly, how people reach out to you and your team and answer Shay's question. Go ahead, Dave. I know you've been trying to jump in.
No, it's okay. I wanted to throw out that Greg mentioned that the GSA sheds about 2,200 contracts a year. So they're pulling people on and they're letting people on, and then they're taking people off because they're not being able to perform. So
No loitering.
Yeah, they don't like no loitering. So I do have another poll real quick. I think I do. Anyway, did I do this right? What is one federal relationship worth to you guys? Because now we're going to get into some meat and potatoes, and I do have an answer to the question that's coming for Dennis. Where's a good place to start for a startup to begin to find contracts? We are going to talk about that because there is a place. It's called SAM.gov. You can monitor it right there. You can look and find those things. And we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. I do have my brief commercial break in the middle that I want feedback on. So there you have it. That's coming up. So how do you prep everybody for a commercial break? Well, I just did. So what's one relationship? What's that? Go ahead.
I'm just saying, while you're doing this, a lot of people are asking questions in the chat.
Okay.
So, and encouraged you to, I'm just going to tell you how to do it quickly. So at the bottom of your Zoom screen, if you click, you'll see mute, stop video, participants, Q&A. If you click on the Q&A, you can ask a question.
Yep. That's much easier to find. It's easier for us to find there. So what's one relationship work? I love it. I love it. I love it. A lot of folks over $1 million.
Yeah.
Keep going with that, because I'm going to start talking about the winnable opportunity matrix. Zachary, if you can pop the winnable opportunity matrix in there so that people can grab this. This is one of the tools that we've developed over the years, and it's just a sheet of paper or a PDF. You don't even have to print it. So, but I'm going to run through this real quick so you understand kind of the philosophy of getting proactive, because if you're not working out, you're going to be missing out. So how the winnable opportunity matrix works: you're reaching out to people, contracting officers, program managers, technical representatives, also known as cores, COTARs, and other different names depending on the agency, administrators, which are your senior executive people that Sally was talking about, your directors, your political appointees. Every one of these folks have different roles, needs, buying motives, and patterns. And we have got to, as outsiders that want business with these people, we have got to be addressing what their needs are and how they buy. And the objective is to move each one of these folks into the green. If you take a look at how this works, this is modified from Miller Hyman, strategic selling. If you take a look at the bottom, this means they're favoring your competition. Greg Clark, do people have favorite people to work with?
Well, what do you say? If you know, like them, and trust them,
there it
as
is.
Opposed to nobody off the street. Yeah. If you're already doing work for a customer and you're doing a good job and they like you, then it's natural they would want to continue to do that with you.
That's exactly right. So we have the favors your competition, and then the other side on the green is they favor you. Notice how this works. One, you're okay. They kind of like you. Greg, you didn't spit while you talk. You didn't step on their shoes in the elevator. You're all right. Okay. All right. You're okay. Now you start to develop that trust. They kind of like you. They may like what you're proposing, and they like you. Then the third is they like you a lot. They say, hey, I think these people have some good things that we have. The four is a coach. Now, this is people that really like you, that are willing to help you navigate within their agencies to help facilitate meetings, to help facilitate. What are they thinking? Where's the competition have an edge? That's a coach. Finally, we have champions. These are the people that are willing to take your flag up the hill. We don't have a lot of champions anywhere, but this gives you an idea of how sometimes you'll find somebody, man, this thing is the greatest thing. I'm willing to champion this for you. Notice there is no middle. You can't be a zero. It's just, there is no middle. And if they don't know you, it's actually in the red. Now, theoretically, what they're putting out is saying, we want all the competition in the world. No, they don't. They don't want all the competition in the world. And if they don't know who you are automatically a high risk, which puts you in the red. So how do you, I need to end this poll. Let me share this real quick before I do that. So let's take a look. Most folks, more than $10,000, that's fantastic. And a lot of folks over $1 million. So I appreciate that. There's a different strategy for each one of these categories that fall into how we pursue. And I'm going to open this poll, which is, how do you want to reach buyers? There's multiple ways to reach buyers. You may need a complete strategy, but you want to get, and you can choose as many as you want. Do you want to reach out to them fast? Do you want to reach them systematically through the course of time? And yes, I'm setting up for my commercial coming up in just a minute. But I'm asking this question specifically. And here is why I'm asking that question. And somebody asked the question about how do you, what was the question? Where's a good place to start up to find contracts? So we all want wins. So tell me, I want feedback on this presentation part. We all want wins. And they give us, what do they give us, Sally? They give us SAM.gov. And
Yes.
SAM.gov, how much does it cost to go to SAM.gov, Greg Clark?
Zero.
Nothing. And they post opportunities on SAM.gov. Now, I would like to hear from you on the chat. What are your thoughts on SAM.gov if you have been there? Because we wouldn't be doing what we're doing if SAM.gov operated the way that it should. All right, so you can put that in chat after you do your vote. I'm going to get
Monitor your language when you're responding to that as well, please.
What's that?
I said, watch your language in your.
Yeah,
All right.
PG language.
How about that?
Good luck with the PG language on that too. Just saying. All right. So the reason why, so let's look. What are people saying about this, Sally? Find it difficult, ultra confusing. The worst website we've seen. Go back to FBO.
Journey into Sam Hill.
Very difficult. Impossible to find anything. And when you do find, it's too late to be useful. Bam. Oh my gosh, Dean, you're my next favorite person. I think SAM.gov is much better than to use a beta SAM.gov. I don't like it. Exactly. Not use it. They're complicated. Okay. That is exactly why we built SAM.bid. It's the way to custom monitor by NAICS, by PSC, by keyword, and have it delivered directly to your email so you know first. As soon as it lands, you don't have to log into SAM.gov. How many people are saying, thank God? All right, so it gives you the ability to review. You can propose, which gets you to a place of your win. And this is where we're going. And I appreciate all the feedback there in the chat. Thank you very much. Here's the challenge that we have. Well, first of all, it's $89 a month for us to do this for you and send it to you. That gives you access to 2% of everything that gets posted because only 2% hit SAM.bid. Now you're saying, Dave, how can that possibly be? I'm telling you, there's about 125,000 that hit every given year, and there's almost 7 million awards. There's a lot of reasons for that, but at the end of the day, we need a way to not be reactive, but get proactive. Because proactivity works like this. If only 2% are there, let me tell you something about this mark. 1 out of 5, 76% of the time, they're picking 1 of 5. That means you need to be positioned to be 1 of the 5. How does that happen? It happens with trust. You mentioned it, Greg. People buy from people they know, like, and what?
Trust.
What? Trust.
Trust.
That's exactly right. So how does trust happen? It happens because we have meaningful conversations and dialogue. It doesn't get poof because, hey, I have the lowest price. Lowest price does not mean trust.
That's right.
So how do we get to the point where we have meaningful conversations? There's 4 E's. We need to have exposure into the marketplace. We need to engage these people. We need to exhibit the fact that we know what the heck we're doing, and we need to be considered the expert in our field. These 4 E's get us to a place where we have meaningful conversations, the trust gets developed, and we become one of the shortlisted 5, which gets us to the wins. All right. And guess what? This is 98%. This reaches the other 98%. That's why we built the AMP side, which it's an automatic and it's also advanced monitoring platform. And we do that for $249 a month. You can go to SAM.bid and you can sign up for that. And if you do, you get 50% off because it's regularly $500. This is coming out. We are super excited about this. And all you have to do is do SAM.bid and it'll take you right there. We're still working on the website to make it better. Got it. Try it. I'm telling you, it's going to work. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. Using the winnable opportunity matrix, also using that tool, which I just showed you, to interact with the buyers. So this is how we want to move contracting officers into the green. Before we do that, we need to know who they are. They're busy. Will they teach you how to do business with them, Greg Clark?
I'm sorry, I'm over here.
I see that. Will contracting officers teach you how to do business with them?
Of course
No, it's not their job.
Not
And
in this scope of work.
Rafael, these people are always interested in new things and trying everything new, don't they?
No, they're not.
No, not
Very,
at all.
very risk averse. I can tell you that because when I was a procurement officer, we wanted to just get business done and we didn't have time for risk, new vendors and people who didn't know the process. That's the reality.
Yep. And that's why that puts you in a bad position when you're new. If they don't like you, you're already in the red. You're in the red. You have to be moving yourself into the green. Now, these folks move paper. What do I mean by that? They're spending money all the time. And they're experts in that. They're not experts in what you do. They don't even care how good you are at what you do. They do care about your socio-economic certifications, Rafael Marrero, and they do care about your GSA contract, whether you have one or whether they use it or not. They do care if you have one, right, Greg?
Absolutely.
And so they select the purchasing mechanism. Specifically, is it going to be a GSA? Is it going to go up full and open? Are they going to do an 8A set aside? How many people do you need if you're 8A, Rafael?
How many people do you need?
Yeah, with an 8A.
If you want to do an 8A set aside, rule of 2, federal rule of 2.
You have rule of 2, and they can also sole source, can't they?
They can also do sole source, assuming you meet 1 of 5 qualifying criteria under what's known as a sole source justification for an award.
Bingo.
That's right.
And then they develop the contracting office. And let me tell you something, the documents, they want to get it done. They want the fastest way to get it, and easy is good. So what do we need to do? We need to make what we do easy for them. And that's why they can tell that you know what you're doing when you have a great capability statement. And that's easy for them to say, well, you belong here. Right. And when they have a GSA, when you have a GSA contract, you don't need a GSA contract. $30 billion goes through, a little bit more than that, but you mentioned it earlier, about $30 billion, Greg, go through GSA. You have billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that don't go through GSA, and they're still looking for ways to buy from you. So the question is, there's 77,000 active contracting officers right now. The question is, who's buying what you sell? And I asked the question earlier, do you want to get it to everybody quickly? Do you want to do it systematically? Do you need a full strategy? We did this down in Albuquerque, Rafael, so I'm repurposing. We are eco-friendly. We are repurposing this presentation from what we did in Albuquerque construction. You run Albuquerque construction, let's say you do, and this is one of our products. Is there money in construction? 70 plus billion. So I want you to see something here. Of that 70 billion, that went to 409 companies with 123,000 contracts. 76% of them were shortlisted. It's exactly what we see across the board. They didn't go out, not everybody got to be able to even see this work. So what is the biggest difference? 6,189 buyers spent $70 billion. And when we broke this down in New Mexico, it looked like this. Of those, 346 buyers did the work in New Mexico with 6,416 contracts, 22 different agencies. This is New Mexico. Every state has multiple places. $7.1 billion in 2 years. Lots of money got spent in New Mexico. And when we did this research, we did this up against FBO at the time and FPDS, and we were looking at saying, okay, who are the people that are responsible? Herbert Thompson spent some of this money. And so did Denise Ferris. When we do the research, these are the people that are responsible for spending the money in Albuquerque for one of the competitors that we did the research for. So if they don't know who you are, they're not going to buy from you. You don't do purchasing blind. You have a reason to purchase from somebody, and you have to be motivated. If you're going to buy something, you have to be motivated to buy something. You need it, and you got to find somebody, and then you do your shopping. So the biggest thing you want to do is get on the buyer's radar, and you have the ability doing that with an email campaign, getting out in front of those folks. Make sure with a short message, 3 bullet points. When you see this, remember this, and then follow up with them. Creating an email campaign to go after these folks. Then you want to have things in your signature, not your regular signature, right, Rafael? What do you need in there?
Well, you need to have on your signature block.
Yeah.
You need to have, well, most importantly, you've got to have your duns in your cage.
Yep.
And you must always have, please remember this, you must always have a version of your capability statement that is under 1 megabyte and labeled as such with the proper naming convention in PDF format.
And to your point, and you want to have all your socioeconomic search. If you're small business, put it
all
on
of
there.
Your socioeconomic search and the URL, a short URL for the landing portion of your website where all of your capabilities are clearly spelled out. Make it easy for them to see who you are and what you do.
That's right. Everything about this is to make it easy. And this is, you can reach out to them and you can purchase, and it is really hard to reach out to people if you don't know who they are. And it can take you years to be able to assemble that. So one of the things we do is we run contact reports over the past 12 months. Name, agency, email, phone number, the dollar amounts that they've spent in your NAICS, in your keywords, if you want to, you can be agency specific. You can look within a geographic location. It doesn't much matter. We can run the report to tell you who is active in your space. This is critically important because they probably aren't putting it out on SAM.bid or SAM.gov. They're probably not putting it on SAM.gov.
Mhm.
If they do, great. Even so, we had somebody say it. Most of the time, it's too late by the time it lands there because a lot of these people have been tracking this for a long time before it hits SAM.gov. So we want to be able to get into their heads. We want to be able to connect with them and get in their heads. And that's one of the places that we do this as well, is doing this with, you can start with 249. Zachary, you can pop your Calendly link in there. And you can always upgrade if you want to. But if you want to get out to the masses, we can do huge campaigns. We do this all the time.
So I just
But
have
if
to
you
jump
wanna-
in. I just have to jump in here. So I work with clients that pay some companies $16,000 a year, $20,000 a year, thousands of dollars a month to do this. And this buyer's report is very helpful, as is some of the other services that ISI provides. And I can tell you, having done this for many years, they are uber reasonable for the value you get. All of my EchoWolf clients who want to work with the government are using these reports and using ISI's consulting and get tremendous value.
Yep, I appreciate that. And I will answer a couple of questions here because Ryland says, SAM.gov is not enough to get you in the door with buyers. It's basically a permit instead of a driver's license. And that's even before you get to the GSA. I agree entirely, Ryland, fantastic. Does SAM.bid have a free demo option? No, it doesn't, because but I'll tell you what we will do is if you sign up and you don't like it in 30 days, you get your money back. But there's too much that goes into the creation of it. So not
Okay,
today.
quick
Does
question.
SAM.bid
Quick
Does
question. We
go
have
ahead.
lots of questions. We have 5 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the 3 dots, and I'm telling you how to do it as well. And I'm going to capture, as well as Zachary, all of the questions, so that even if we end in 5 minutes or so,
Yep.
we can make sure we can get back to you. So please don't leave knowing 154 participants left. Thank you. That we prepared you. It's just, it's
Yep.
hard to answer the questions because you scroll on the question, and then when someone else asks a question, it disappears.
Yeah, it's
Please
fact.
know we're not as incompetent in Zoom as we might look. It's really challenging, but we want to capture everybody. So I want to put that in there, Dave. Go ahead.
All right, real quick. I do want to ask this poll. Now, all of us probably need professional help. Hold on a second. I gotta go. I gotta get in here. Pay no attention to man behind the curtain.
While you're doing that, so you're going to send all the participants today. You're going to send a copy of the recording of this, and you're also going to send what to them, Dave?
We will for whatever you're asking for, we will do our best to be able to connect you with what you're asking for.
But everybody that's attended, they get a copy of the recording.
Yep, they get a copy of the recording, they get a copy of the presentation or link to the presentation, and they get the VA procurement readiness capability.
Do you include a transcript of the chat?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
We do that. So yeah, we'll make, and so go ahead and let us know about that. And we will get to some of your questions, but for the folks that didn't ask a question, I just want to say, you can see ISI Federal on YouTube, LinkedIn, 2 different places. My LinkedIn is nowhere as good as Sally's yet, but she's going to be helping us with that. And you can reach out to Greg Clark here at G Clark with an E. And if you're spelling Greg, it's 2 G's at the end and an E. So all kind of jacked up when you're trying to catch up with him. DKAhome.com. And you can reach Rafael. He spells his name properly. Rafael at RafaelMarrero.com. You can reach out to him, and Sally at EchoWolf.Solutions, because she has wolves. She really has real live wolves. If you need contract funding, TFN at actioncapital.com. And we are super excited to have been here, and I will make sure we get to, if you need to reach me, you can reach me here.
So
But
yes, we're sending the deck. Yes, we're sending the deck.
Yep.
Yes, we're sending the slideshows. We're getting more questions about that. And Dave, if you don't cut us off really quick, as soon as we're done, I'll make sure I capture, as will Zachary, all the chats.
We will do that.
Okay.
I have a couple questions. Does SAM.bid also monitor state and local bids? No, unless it's run through the federal system. Our lane is 100% federal. So I did that one.
Does government work with nonprofits?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Does the government work with nonprofits?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we actually can share more of that. There's going to be an upcoming briefing about grants, which
Yeah.
with
There's a
COVID,
ton of money in
I know
grants.
900 billion annually, and pre-COVID, it's 500 billion annually in grants and in R&D type grants, funding that's different than what Dave went over today. So
Yep.
stay tuned.
And Sheila, to answer your question specifically, how do you find our niche and in the government bidding, legal services and education? I would definitely shy away from legal services. Is one of the places you don't see a whole lot, but training, which includes legal services on that education side, huge, billions of dollars. SAM.bid and the AMP system. The AMP system is what's going to show you who's playing in that the most.
Dave, someone's asking, can we see samples of the buyer's report?
Can we see samples of the buyer report? Yes, you
baby.
can.
What is this, Costco?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Very funny. That was funny.
So a buyer's report
Pre-COVID
is
cost.
very similar. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how this works in the AMP system real quick, because here's an award that happened. I'm monitoring Oracle, by the way. So I'm going to open this up and incorporated, by the way, incorporated with AMP are buyer reports, right? So you can see the details that are associated, and I can show you a sample of the one that you would buy otherwise as well. But this has all the purchases that are associated, who they're buying from. And oh, by the way, you always have access to the name, the agency, phone number, not always on the phone number, but you do have the active email. And we also can track competitors in this space. And there's the competitors' information. If you want to sub to CDW government, you want to be a supplier, then you're not gonna probably, you might, but you may be able to team with them. But that's one of the buyer's reports, and I can show you samples of the other buyer reports, which would be the top 250, top 500, and top 750. I don't have those handy at the moment. I think there's some on the website though. I'll make sure we get I'll send out one of those. All right, I'm going to end this poll so it's not sticking up in my face anymore. All right, next question. What else we got, Sally?
Another question is, how do you get on FSS, and how do we find subcontracting opportunities? So I think the best way to handle this, given this is 10:01, is
There's two answers to that quick. FSS is Federal Supply Schedule. That is who? Greg Clark?
GSA Schedule.
That's a GSA, right?
Yeah.
FSS Federal Supply Schedule. And how do you do subcontracting with that? You watch for the awards on FPDS or SAM.bid AMP. That's how you find out about subcontract.
I'm not sure if we answered what is GSA cost. Is
You
expensive.
should talk to Greg on that.
Yeah.
Talk to Greg for sure.
Yeah, talk to Greg on that.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to go ahead and copy now all of the questions, and then I'm going to send them to Zachary and the team. So we can get out to you along with the other package. Such a pleasure.
Let me just answer a real quick. Let's see. We did the answering the Todd Crane. Awesome job, guys. Rylan, you can come back.
Yeah, Rylan's my favorite attendee.
Yeah, he's my favorite. And how's the best way to get a contracting officer's radar? Exactly what we just talked about. We by the way, when you engage on the AMP system, you will be incorporated into Monday roundtables, which is always fun, but there's always dialogue in helping to work you through that process to get on the contracting officer's radar. And I've not received any recording. You will receive a recording, Wanda. It's still being recorded. We'll make sure you get that. I don't know. Harold said something about Greg, same here, two of very innovative solutions, both faster than the competition, save dollars. What does that mean? I don't know.
I've been trying to put that together, but
I don't know what that means, Harold. You're welcome, Kathleen Butler. And does Rafael We already did that. Okay, cool. I think we did that. And there's one, I filed a CCR in 08 and got a pilot contract for the Navy. Very good way to do it, and performed successfully, but the implementation contract never went ahead. How do I migrate to what the current certification is? Great question. I'm not sure what that means, Paul, but I think you should talk to Rafael and Greg or me. So we'll make sure we answer that. That was a little bit different. All right, any other in the chat, do we know?
Yeah, there's a couple questions. Someone would like to have assistance in marketing trade shows virtually. And so feel free to reach out. I put my information in the chat. And Dave, that was another thing that we've been getting a lot of questions on that. So we might want to put together a marketing gov brief where, you, me, and Rafael to talk about how you market yourself, because that's a whole separate ballgame.
Dave did a virtual conference. The first one in lockdown was out the gates was you.
Yep. And we did that. That was way back.
Yeah.
That was back when we rushed that through. In 6 weeks, we came from conception to delivery because we thought, hey, we want to get ahead of this COVID thing.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that I was like, do it in May. So when everything opens back up in June, we're the heroes.
It was incredible.
Jeez Louise. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, please reach out and feel free to schedule. We have a bunch of different things that we can do. We'll be glad to sit down and talk with you. Zachary's got his stuff that we can talk with you from ISI Federal Land. Reach out to Sally and Greg and Rafael. As always, Sally, Greg, Rafa, you guys are the best. And looking forward to next month. We'll do this again every second Tuesday.
Thanks, and invite everybody you know. The more the
All right,
merrier.
thanks,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Happy
Love it.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks much.